Hey guys, it's Josh, and welcome back to the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad, your favorite podcast for learning how to balance between being a functional adult and a raging dumpster fire. And let's be honest, some days we're all a bit of a dumpster fire. And it's a new week, it's a new episode, so you know we have to have a new guest on. And I've been listening, I've been reading. This one's for my bachelorettes, my ladies out there. I didn't forget about you. I still love you. I care about you. So I'm going to sprinkle a little extra love on this one. I know we have some bosses out there. So if you're successful, stressed, and somehow feeling suspiciously bloated, I think there will be a lot here for you today. But also, if you just feel like I want to take a little bit better care of myself in the new year, health is wealth. And today we're definitely going to get into it. Welcome, Chelsea McLeod. Thanks for making time for us today. You're literally a world away, but we made this work somehow.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Now, you have an interesting story, and I think that's the best place to start is the beginning. You went from corporate dropout to hormone boss. What was the in between? How did we get here?
Hormone boss. That's a new one. Maybe I should put that on my LinkedIn profile. I grinded it out in corporate for about a decade until I was unwell, if you know what I'm saying. I was not sleeping. I was smoking weed to fall asleep. Had no plan for my nutrition. I was an athlete, so working out was never an issue, but I felt terrible and I didn't really look or feel the way I wanted to. So kind of like went down this path of healing myself. And in the process, I learned about all these tools that are not really widely talked about, especially for people who are going to the doctor to get, hey, why is my mood low? Why am I not sleeping? Why am I gaining weight? And they're not getting answers from doctors. So I saw all these protocols that nobody knew about and I was getting really good results with, and people were starting to notice. And so they started asking me like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why does your skin look so good? Like, why are you looking so much skinnier? Like, what's going on? And in the process, I realized that I was onto something and that there was just this generation of people who were working themselves into the ground. They were not taking care of their bodies. And in the process, their hormones, their gut, their entire body as a system was not really functioning as it should. And that led to all these symptoms that I think a lot of Americans and a lot of people in the Western world just think are normal, but they're just not. They're common, but they're not normal. And so I went back to school to become a practitioner just so I could do this kind of for fun, right? Like I always thought this would be a side hustle. I was like, I'll help my family, my friends, but in the process, the results were so crazy that I had too many clients. I was director of e-commerce at Crocs at the time, so I was between like 5 countries any given month. I was in Shanghai one month, and then like back in the US, and then back in Sydney, and like I just couldn't do both. And so it kind of came to the point where I had to choose, like, am I going to go all in on this side hustle, or am I going to keep going down this corporate path? And I chose to go out on my own. And ever since, obviously, you know how it is being an entrepreneur. It's an interesting time, but it's working and it's helping a lot of people at scale. And so that's what I've really put my focus on in the last year, is helping as many people as I can.
I love that. One of the biggest things that this show and the Not So Bad Network was founded on was turning your passion into profit. We're all about the people. We love helping people out, but I'm not trying to be a homeless artist, okay?
No.
I might be a starving artist at times, but I never want to be a homeless artist. So
Yeah.
I'm
You're just
so
a little
happy, and I think
hungry.
it's right. Yeah. I think it's so cool that you were able to actually kind of do that, turn that passion into a profit and take a chance on yourself, because a lot of people are scared to do that. And it paid off. Look at you. A year later, you're happy. You're living the life you want. You're answering to none but yourself. So like huge claps for that.
Thanks. That's the
Of
goal, and
course.
it's always hard because number 1, you never know if it's gonna be successful or not, but I guess, like, when you believe there's no other option, you just go. Because I think a lot of people are quite paralyzed by fear, but I do think there's kind of that point where, and when you ask about the in between, it's like, you have your 9 to 5 and then you have your 5 to 9. But the people who are successful are the ones who are getting up like you and filming podcasts at 3 a.m. come hell or high water. And I think, some people say they want to quit their job and they say they want to start a business, but they don't put in the work and they don't really, really make it happen. And so I think for anyone who's like unsure, it's just like, you just do it. You just do it.
For sure. You were in the corporate world for about a decade. So, a decade in corporate, doing a 9 to 5 and trying to finesse a 5 to 9 as well. How did that affect your body? Because that doesn't leave enough hours in the day for sleep or self care. So, what was that like?
This is the hardest thing for most people, right? Because the boundaries are really leaky right now. For anyone who has a job that even contains a little bit of work from home. There's very, very blurry lines between working and life and rest. And, I was on calls with Shanghai until 9 p.m. And then I was up for calls with Europe at 5 a.m. And so it was hard. Like, I didn't look good. I didn't feel good. And, I'm not one of those people who is sitting on the couch eating McDonald's. Like, I was still going to the gym, but I wasn't sleeping properly. And, what I always tell my clients is like, when you're not sleeping, you're not burning fat, you're not detoxing, your brain's not regenerating. Like, if you're not sleeping, you're basically choosing to function at 50% in every way of your life, not just with your energy levels. And so for me, it's like it got to a point where I didn't want to keep doing it. And I was like, I can see the consequences of this, not just with myself, but with clients. And I wanted to do whatever I could to change that and to actually start taking care of myself.
I mean, that's huge. A lot of people have trouble self-reflecting and taking that first person accountability of, I'm not happy with me, or this is not the life I envisioned. What am I going to
Mhm.
do about it? Now, of course, it's never really overnight. It's gradual. We have the thoughts, we have the journaling, maybe we have the little conversations with friends and family. And then at one point we kind of wake up. So, but before you get there, what are some of the symptoms that you kind of just normalize because you're like, this is what it means to be, I don't like the term girl boss. We stopped using that last season. But I mean, this is what it means to be a boss. This is what it takes to be successful. Like, I got to put the carrot in front of the horse because I have to grind, grind, grind right now.
I think a lot of women choose to suffer, and they think that suffering is required in order to be successful. And I obviously that see that all the time. I mean, with a lot of female founders, just in my personal life. Like, I have a lot of friends who own businesses. I have a lot of friends who are, one of my best friends, like an SVP at Google. Like, I don't know when people started trusting us to have like these big roles, but like suddenly all my friends are like hyper successful. And I don't know how we all got here, but they're all struggling. I mean, the number of times I talk to a woman who has unknown infertility, which I know what that means. But when you hear that from a doctor, it's like, well, what does that mean? What can I do about it? And not let me get on my scroll and tell you what you can do about it. There's so many things. And, gut issues, like women who are just, their baseline is feeling like crap. Like they're bloated. They plan their meals around, or their outfits around bloating. They can't tolerate certain foods, any digestive issues, migraines, hair falling out, skin issues, just general fatigue, right? Like sometimes women are having trouble sleeping, or when they do wake up, even after they've slept a full night, they still feel exhausted. And that's just classic adrenal fatigue, right? And so that's where your body is just producing too much stress hormones over time that it can't keep up because the body wasn't designed to be under chronic stress. So a lot of these symptoms really come back to your body being, literally under fight or flight. Number two, women not having the right resources to properly fuel them. They don't understand how to eat. They're still eating, like a toddler. Like, they're not getting nutrients. They're not eating the right foods. And that doesn't mean eating chicken and broccoli out of a Tupperware, right? It's about knowing how to feed yourself strategically so that your brain works, so that your skin looks good, so that you have real energy. And I would say the other one is, any kind of like cravings, right? Anytime where you feel like you're out of control with your appetite is another sign that kind of like hormones are kind of funky, that things are, you're girl bossing a little bit too hard. Yeah, it's typically, when they have weight gain around the belly that's just not moving, or weight that's not responding to eating less and exercising more. Those are all signs that like the girl's she's just working a little bit too hard.
So we're about the same age, like early 30s. And like you were saying earlier, when did we become the adults? Like, why are
Yeah.
people trusting me? Just
Yeah.
like a couple weeks ago, I feel like they wouldn't let me use scissors. Now I'm
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
charge of a team. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I know 2025, there was this huge trend of girl dinner, like going viral all over Instagram, TikTok, like everywhere you looked, you heard girl dinner, girl dinner. But that really is 90% of like nutrition right there is your diet. And the chicken nugs don't really do anybody any favors. But like you said, you could have a balanced diet, but if you are super stressed, your body is gonna hold on to all that junk and not really process the nutrient like it's supposed to.
That's exactly right. And it's not like we can't have the nugs because, like, the nugs have a time and place, if you know what I'm saying. It's just like not
For
every
sure.
day. So it's what I always say is taking care of yourself, feeding yourself, managing your nervous system are skill sets. And I think people are like, oh, I just need a hack. I just need a chat GPT protocol. But at the end of the day, it's like Excel or learning how to do jujitsu. It's like these are like life skills that women get to learn.
Well, that's an amazing way to look at it. It's everything in moderation, but you do have to build up your repertoire to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I like that you kind of equate it to a skill, like adding it to like the healthy resume, the healthy CV almost. That's cool.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So this wouldn't be episode of the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad if I didn't have at least one random moment. So just stay with me here. If you could have sent your body a calendar invite back when you were still a corporate girly, what would it have been titled?
Rest is a requirement, not a reward.
Okay. No, I kind of fuck with that hard. Even I'm not a girly, but I can still relate to that statement because so often we grew up with people saying that like millennials were lazy or that you have to work so hard so that you can save money, stack your wealth, and then retire. But I think that just turned us all into low key workaholics, not even low key, like mid to high key workaholics. And so we think anytime that we're resting or trying to take it easy, that we're falling behind. But no, it is a prerequisite to success in all reality.
To all the millennial haters out there, millennials hustle so hard. Like, we are the most burnt out generation in history. It's not even up for debate. And I think people look at millennials and they're like, oh, well, they weren't working in factories. And it's like, yeah, dude, but like we're working 14 hours on a computer, which is even worse. So we're even more unhappy.
I was like, at least you guys got to move your body. We're sitting here becoming the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like just typing
Oh
all
my
day.
God, I have the posture of a shrimp.
Hey, I've never heard that before, but that is hilarious. I just picture like the curl it because we
Yeah.
do. We're just
Yeah.
hunched all damn day. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
totally.
Coming back into reality, healthy habits, it becomes a skill set, but you also, people get nervous or scared around the word system, but I like it because you do need a system in order to form any habits. And once you form habits, then it's just everyday life. So, what are some of your systems? Because some people think, oh, I have to do all this cardio to regulate, to burn calories, to like lose weight, or I need to be in the gym 7 days a week. Like, do you have any routine habits that you think are really essential to a healthy lifestyle?
I think once you have the skill, it's easier to build the system. So, for example, like one of the skills that I teach my clients is like how to balance their blood sugar. And once you understand why that's important and how it works, the system kind of falls into place. So, for a lot of people, it's like, hey, make sure when you're having carbs that you're having it with protein and fat. And make sure that instead of grazing all day, that you're getting a proper meal and you're actually sitting down when you eat it. So it's like, can you get those meals at regular scheduled times? Can you create like a proper eating schedule and start to eliminate snacks? And know that when you do that, it's going to be uncomfortable because your blood sugar is so used to always calling for snacks that you're retraining your body to burn fuel instead of sugar. So things like that, things like, I put most of my clients because they're busy execs, they're NORs, they're people like yourself who work themselves and are on crazy hours and they're on calls all day. So it's like, can we get a smoothie in first thing? And I'm not talking like a sugar bomb smoothie. It's like a combination of fruits, veggies, and for people who are looking for a little bit more nutrition direction, I have on my Instagram, I give away a free ebook that kind of has all this. So you don't have to like take notes on your phone right now, but you know, putting some protein in there, putting some fat in there, like nuts, seeds, avocado, like really keeping your blood sugar balanced by not just eating processed food all day is really helpful. And just, I always say, like, just add more movement to your day, right? Like, make these little routines where you habit stack. And habit stack is like anytime you take an existing habit that you do on autopilot, just completely automatically, and you stack something new on top of it. So maybe it's taking a supplement, maybe it's drinking water, maybe it's, something that your body needs more of, and you stack it on top of something that's happening on autopilot. So for me, it's like as soon as I eat lunch, then I'm moving my body for 10 minutes just to get the blood sugar moving around so that I don't have a big like rise and fall in my blood sugar and my energy. So just little things like that. And I think the most important thing is that people have a really sustainable system of eating that allows them to release weight and feel the way they want to without feeling restricted. Because I think that's why so many diets fail is because you can't have the donut on the weekend. So therefore you just like hold out and then you have the donut and then you have a binge and then you're back at square one. So it's like, how do we allow and expect slip ups, quote unquote, as part of the plan so that you can stay with the plan?
I just love the fact that you phrased it release weight because the term lose weight, I feel like, at least for me, they're like, you need to lose weight. It makes it feel like a chore. It makes it feel like I'm in a boot camp and I have to do this, and that. But I was like, no, I make good choices. I trust myself. I try to give myself grace. So releasing the weight it feels less like a command and more like a hug in a sense. So I like that you do that.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes down to like victim mindset versus like responsibility for yourself, you
Mhm.
know? And like one is, well, I'm going to let some personal trainer shame me into losing weight versus no, I'm choosing to take care of myself. And as a result, the physical results fall into place because I don't market myself as a weight loss coach, but it just so happens that when I empower women to take care of themselves, they're a lot skinnier because their body's like, oh, we can let go of this now.
No, that's so true. Anybody who takes care of themselves or knows anything about nutrition, working out, moving is super important, but a lot of your weight loss journey is gonna be dietary.
Hmm.
What are you putting into your body? How are you fueling your unit? That's another thing that so every hour, hour and a half, I have a timer go off, and everybody in the office with me, I look around and I was like, "They know what that is. It's water time. You guys aren't drinking enough water." And so that's just one way that's, like, fun to encourage people to, "Hey, remember, let's drink water, let's stand up, let's move our bodies." Because even if you eat everything that you're supposed to, quote, unquote, "supposed to," if you're not hydrated, your body really doesn't have anything to help lubricate and, like, burn to work that metabolism, and then if you're not moving, all that food's just sitting there, so it's not really being burned and sent to the body to effectively use that glucose, so,
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you should be a health coach.
you know what? I feel it. I can be a hormone boss too. No, I cannot do that. I was like, "I have 2 bits of wisdom and that's it."
That's
It's like,
all.
"Move and be hydrated." That's all I got. So we kind of have been talking about hustle culture and how it does no favors for us. It's kind of like breaking women, it's creating all this stress. Do you think there could even be a healthy version of hustle culture?
This is such a hard question to answer because, like, I believe that everyone can exist in any environment if they are connected to themselves, they know what they need, they're good at boundaries, and they have the tools to manage systems where their nervous system is on overdrive all the time. And so it's like, yes, I do, but I also think it's a lot harder. Like, it's a lot easier for me to be easy working for myself when I can get outside and get sun on my face. When I was in a boardroom for 9 hours a day, and there was croissants and couldn't even get my hands on healthy food no matter how hard I tried because there was no Uber Eats in Shanghai and we didn't have time to go out and get anything. Like, you kind of got to look at it and say, like, is there any way for me to work within my current circumstance to make this a better and healthier experience for me? And that's where coaching can be really helpful. And I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, be my client. I'm just saying coaches, whoever they are, whoever you work with, it could be a health practitioner, personal trainer, whoever it is. It's like looking for solutions and kind of challenging your current systems because we have all these beliefs to be true. Like, I have clients who are like, well, I'm on calls all day, so it's impossible for me to have lunch. And I'm like, okay, but what if you blocked your calendar for 30 minutes? Oh, I can't do that. Why? Because my team needs me. Why? Because I want to feel significant. So this is really about you. Like,
Right.
this is not
Yeah.
about your team. You're conditioning your team to set meetings with you because you want to feel significant. Okay, let's talk about that. And so it's like we have to be really honest about where we're choosing unhealthy behaviors because it's part of a sabotage pattern. And this is where coaching can really help you get clear on, I would say like most of my clients were able to find solutions within their career. And it's like, oh, if I just take care of myself in this way, if I have this little hack over here, like I want to stay in this job. And then there's some who are like, wow, okay, so I've healed my body. I don't have brain fog anymore, so I have full spectrum thinking. And now I realize that this entire situation is completely toxic. I fucking hate it. But it's like, wait, I just hate this whole thing. So I want to go quit and start my own business. So it can go either way. But I think the more important thing is that that person feels fulfilled, that they're able to take care of themselves. And ultimately, it's on that person to learn what they need and how to express their needs through healthy boundaries. Because most of these people, it's not even the workplace's fault, it's their fault. So that's where we really have to get clear. And that's where coaching can really help kind of figure out what it really is for you.
No, I mean, first person accountability is something that we all need to work on. Me as somebody who is a coach who is just semi self-conscious and aware, there's still things that I'm like, Josh, you should probably do that. Like, you got to own up to it." And I was like, "You're right."
Always. There's
I was
always
like,
something.
exactly. I was like, "Oh, I mean, I'm perfect because I'm me, but I can be even more perfect." I just wish there was like some type of healthy hustle method that we could just all kind of commit to and be 1% better than we were yesterday. Because that's really what it comes
Totally.
down to.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I called my brand The Healthy Hustle because it's like, it's not about like, you can't be a girl boss and be successful because I do believe you can if you have the tools and if you become the person who can actually take care of yourself because it's just not the vibe. I see the number of times I go to networking events with female founders and like half of them are losing their hair and look like shit. And I'm like, what is the point of making $1 million if you look and feel like that? You can't have a baby with your husband because your body's not working. None of your pants fit. Like, how is that really going for you? Like, is there a better way to do this? And the answer is always yes.
I love how you said it. It's not just a vibe and a green juice. Like if you're doing those two things, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be fit. I'm gonna be in shape. I'm gonna no. I was like, no, it's definitely more than just those two things.
Mhm.
Do they help? 100%. Great attitude and a green juice has never hurt. But that's not the start and end.
That's right. It's like there are these little, I always call them like pebbles and boulders. It's like green juice. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I will put a lot of my clients on like a high quality greens powder because they're all nutrient deficient. But there's pebbles and there's boulders. And a lot of the time, one of the biggest boulders is how you eat, like how you structure eating, how how often you're resting, like how connected you are to yourself. Like those are the foundational pillars and everything else is easier once you figure out those things.
I love that analogy of pebbles and boulders because you don't always have to move a mountain. And I feel anybody who's an entrepreneur or anybody who's just in a new setting, you feel like you have to make a mark and move every mountain so that you could be one iota closer to quote unquote success. But you really don't. Sometimes if you pick a couple pebbles up, I was like, you actually end up more ahead of the curve than spending weeks, months, years moving a mountain that doesn't really need to be moved.
Totally. It's like sometimes we get so caught up with thinking what we perceive to be the most important thing, and a lot of times it's not actually the thing.
Right. Speaking of what we think is super important, I don't know about you, but I loved Mythbusters growing up. So let's bust some myths, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm in this little phase where we're doing mini games and myth or hot truth. That's what I'm going to ask right now. Okay.
Done.
More cardio equals better results. Myth or hot truth?
Definitely a myth. I think a lot of Chad Brad personal trainers will, they'll come at me on TikTok being like, it's just calories in, calories out. And I'm like, yeah, you clearly don't work with women who have a hormonal imbalance because that's just not the case. It works when your hormones are balanced, always. Thermodynamics do apply. When a woman has a hormonal imbalance, that's really determining her fat metabolism and, determines how her body is actually metabolizing sugar or fat. Good luck with that. Like, it's just never going to work. And that's why clients I work with, we reduce cardio and they lose more weight.
Nice. And that's so true. I love that you also use the Chad Bcha. Dang, English has been kicking
Words
my
are
ass
hard.
today, y'all. I love that you also use the Chad Brad Thad. Yeah. Everything comes in threes. We know that. No, you're so right. I tell people, I don't have woman brain, I have man brain. So sometimes the advice I give, I have to flip the perspective. And the same thing goes for nutrition. Like what works for your male clients is not going to be a one-to-one that works for your female clients.
Mhm.
And that kind of brings me to this next one, myth or hot truth. Bloating is normal because the amount of times I hear women say, oh, I'm just bloated right now, or it's like, it's 2 o'clock, I'm bloated. Is that supposed to be a thing?
This is a myth. What I will say is, it's natural for women to retain more water towards the end of their cycle. However, most women, when they talk about bloating, they're actually talking about digestive bloating. So they're having discomfort. Maybe they haven't pooped in a couple days. That's very common with clients, especially if they have hormonal or gut issues. And so, no, it's not. Like if you get progressively bloated as the day goes on and your belly like rises and gets bigger throughout the day, and then at the end, like your pants fit differently than they did in the morning, which is very common, it's a sign that something's off, either with your gut, your hormones, probably both.
Oh, that's a good call because it's something I'm not too familiar with. Yeah, guys get bloated, and I don't think it may be as big of a thing or issue for us. I've never sat around in the locker room and be like, "Guys, I feel a little bloated today, a little pug." I've just never had that conversation, but I've definitely been present with, some of our counterparts, and that's the conversation
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. I don't know. I just shake my head, but I'm glad to know that it's not really normal and then that there are things we can do to kinda or everybody can do to kinda help decrease that digestive bloat.
Totally. It's one of the most common things that I see with clients, but because everyone is bloating, we all think it's just normal. And I'm here to tell you
Mhm.
that it's not normal, but it's very common.
Right. Okay. Managing stress is more important than managing calories.
I would say, I mean, it's tough because they're both important, right? Because I don't really like to think about managing calories. I like to think about eating high quality food. And so for a lot of my clients, I'm like, hey, here's a rough nutrition plan, right? Like, we don't need to be weighing and measuring macros, but if you're trying to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, right? Like, you can't be having hand in the peanut butter jar, just eating all day and expecting to lose weight just because you're managing your nervous system. Like, it kind of has to be both. But when you strap up a weight loss protocol with hormone balancing strategies that include nervous system management strategies, you lose weight a lot faster. It's more efficient.
If you're listening to this, I need you to actually leave a comment. How many of you know how many calories you're supposed to be consuming in a day? Because it baffles me, not that I am in the bodybuilder shape I used to be, but I still know how many calories I should kind of consume for my activity level day to day. But so many people don't. They just eat or don't eat. And I was like, what? Food is fuel. And if you don't
Yeah.
have full fuel, like that's you're just gonna be stuck somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you were a bodybuilder, you totally know how this goes. You're very mature with knowing what you should put in your body, but like most people are out there raw dogging it and wondering why they feel terrible.
Okay, tangents, they're amazing today. So, I actually just had a conversation with somebody because I have a couple Gen Z, like, friends, coworkers, and I was talking about raw dogging it, and 2 completely different things. They were like, "Yeah, I was just raw dogging, the other day, like, at home," and I was like, "What?" It's like, "No, I was just, like, sitting out on the porch just, like, watching, like, the street go by," and I was like, "I don't think you used that word right."
Yeah.
But
You're like, "You can do that alone? What?"
yeah, right. I was like, "Oh my." I was like, "I must have been out of the game." You're right. I was like, "They don't have AAA for your body, so you wanna make sure that you have enough fuel to get you to A to B to back home." And knowing how much fuel your body takes is super important. There are a bunch of different calorie calculators you can use to kinda determine what that should be. You can always talk to somebody who is more of a health coach because, guys, I know my system, my unit. I'm not equipped to help you necessarily.
One thing they can do, if you're listening to this and you're like, "But how do I know?" Just
Mhm.
go to bmr.org, base male at metabolic rate, and you wanna put it, okay, it's like calculator.net. BMR, this is your base metabolic rate, and so if you enter your height, your weight, how active you are, it'll tell you your base metabolic rate, and if you're exercising, you wanna put those calories on top, and that's about how many calories you need a day, and let me tell you, it's never as much as you think you need. For most people, it's under 2,000.
Yeah, I was like, unless you're doing some serious hardcore, like day-to-day activity, like workout plan, I was like, 2K will get you where you need to be, but it's also super easy to hit that if
Mhm.
you're not eating right,
Yeah,
you
if you're
know?
eating processed foods, it's so easy to hit that really quickly, which is why whole foods and just eating stuff that's a little bit lower down the food chain, you'll just feel like you're eating more food. So I had like a massive bowl of ground chicken, a bunch of squash, a bunch of veggies, and that was only like 350 calories. And it was like a huge bowl. Whereas like I could have gotten that much from a protein bar. You know what I mean? So it's just about getting volume. Like we want to look for volume.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, when they hear hormone, they think that's something they don't necessarily need to worry about right now because they're like, I'm in my 20s, my 30s, hormones don't matter. Myth or hard truth? Hormones matter even before 40.
They do matter before 40, right? So it's a myth that they don't matter. I guess it's just a lot of people don't see signs of a hormonal imbalance until their late 30s. So that's why most of my clients, there are some girlies in their 30s who are struggling with like endo or PCOS or something like that. And I'll work with them. But for most people, it's like they don't start to see those hormonal imbalances until 10 years of chronic stress, or they go through a really hard crisis, or they have a baby and then have trouble getting back into balance. And so it's typically just, there's more time on this planet for your hormones to go awry, and you don't see the evidence of that until you start seeing the symptoms. So for a lot of women, it's like, how can we learn these skills before your hormones get bad so you don't have to heal your hormones? You just keep them in balance forever.
Well, yeah, for sure. We've been talking about systems and forming habits. That's the key right there is learning how to manage and understand your body and then just making that every day.
Totally. Where it just becomes part of who you are and not something you're doing, even consciously.
Right. And I'm not saying you have to make it your whole personality. That's not the point. I'm just saying that it should be a definite, regular, integral part of your life.
Totally. Love that.
Going back into kind of what we were talking about in the episode, what is a quote unquote healthy habit that you think a lot of women need to leave behind in this new year? Something that was quote unquote healthy, but really doesn't serve you.
I think for a lot of girlies who kind of start their day off with a matcha, if they could just move it after breakfast, it would make a really big difference to their cortisol levels. And the other one I would say is cardio every day, regardless of where you are in your cycle and how you feel. So, and that's coming
That
from I was a soul cycle instructor. So I used to be on a bike all day, every day. You know what I mean? And so I'm a cardio bunny. I love that. And I'm not here to disparage cycling because I still teach, but it's like we have to be wise about our recovery. We have to do it at the right time of the cycle. And, I would say like last 3 days of the cycle, just don't do it. And also on days where stress is really, really high, do something a little bit more gentle because if your cortisol is already elevated, that's your stress hormone. And then you just go chuck some EDM and some lasers and some high intensity interval training on top of it. It's just like, it's going to burn you out really fast. So it's all about just being discerning and knowing, checking in with your body every day to see how you feel and making the best possible choice.
Yeah, I literally was about to ask what's the biggest mistake high performers make, but cardio every day or intentionally, unintentionally overstimulating yourself. Said if you're already having a lot of big moments or you're having big thoughts, big emotions, and you need a minute, sweating profusely, loud music, and strobing lights doesn't seem like it'd be the relaxing, tranquil respite that you really need at the moment.
No, but in today's society, we're addicted to dopamine and we're addicted to stimulation. And so we always are checking our notifications and we want to be in loud rooms. And you know what I mean? And there just comes a point where your body can't tolerate it anymore. And it shows in your waistline, it shows in your skin, it shows in your hair. And so it's more like people don't care about this until they do. Like they don't care about resting and nervous system regulation until it's a problem.
Yeah, I was like, we're not really proactive. But
Yeah.
speaking of the instant gratification, what's one change that you can kind of give everybody right now that has the quickest ROI?
I've already mentioned coffee after breakfast, so that's a huge
Mhm.
one. And that's for a number of different reasons. Cortisol, dopamine, there's a big metabolic and hormonal cascade that happens as a result of just making that one simple shift that people are resistant to it until they see the result. But the other one would be not touching your phone until 30 to 60 minutes after you wake up and waiting to check your notifications and spending just an hour in your own energy every day. Your day will look completely different than if you're getting on your email, firing up your I was the worst at this. Like I would wake up, I was still in like half REM state, like still half dreaming, and I would open my eyeballs and like open my work email immediately. Like, are you kidding me? Sending me into an absolute spiral at 6:30 in the morning. And so it's like if we can just, keep the scrolling away for the first 60 minutes of our day, it makes such a big difference.
No, that's so true. Anybody who's ever been a part of the effective Bachelor workshop that we run, that's one of the first things I encourage people
Mm.
to do is I give out a journal that kind of has like a little bit of self-care, shadow work in it. That first 30 minutes, hour and a half of your day, I don't want you behind a screen. I want you take your time, do some breathing exercises, stretch, feel your body. I was like, and maybe do a journal prompt or two. Like, I don't mind you write, but just don't be in front of a screen. You're like, hey, I have to get up. I have to go to work. Hopefully, your team iPhone, because I'm always like, hey, Siri, I will have her turn on my rise and grind or morning meditation. She's literally trying to listen to me right now to see what I want. And I'll have that play because I have it set up to be, I think, like 35 minutes. So I know that, hey, I have to listen to this whole playlist through before I can actually touch it. So I'm
Love
not shutting it off.
that.
I'm not skipping. I was like, in that time, I might, because I don't like to shower right away either, because like your body's not at temp. So I'm just moving around the space. I'm thinking about what's going to be a healthy breakfast for me. I'm grabbing my first cup or bottle of water. I always try to keep one by the bed and like knock a bottle of water down slightly when I wake up, get ready, and then start being about thinking about being productive after I've kinda did that morning routine.
I love that. I love the Siri thing. That's a great idea. Think I'm gonna try that.
It's so because everybody's like, "Oh, it's so hard," or "I have to do this." I was like, "You don't have to do anything, first of all, besides eat, breathe, and shit."
Yeah, and die.
Yeah. That's not till later on, okay? We're living healthy lives. We're living longer. You don't have to die for another 60 years if you're listening to the show.
Yeah,
Am I saying there's a correlation between if you listen to the show and live a long life? I
maybe.
don't know, but you should just listen just to be safe.
Yeah, just see if it works.
Yeah. I mean, 100% of the people who listen to the show do die, but also 100% of the people who listen to the show aren't dead yet. I'm just saying. So we've talked about that hustle culture, that grind culture, that yuckiness. We've talked about myths that we just need to leave behind and actually have some good information and some action steps to help regulate ourselves into not just this new year, but this new lifestyle that hopefully everybody's starting. We all want to be a healthier version of ourselves. I have not met a single person who was like, I'm trying to be unhealthy as all get out. Like, I've never heard that. So we want to be healthier. And Chelsea has really helped me kind of reframe some things. Hopefully, she's helped you guys reframe a healthy lifestyle in the sense that it's not a chore. It's actually manageable. It's doable. It's easy. And pushing my coffee time back, not being on a treadmill or Stairmaster every day. Like, those are easy things to do to make a big difference.
Mhm.
So if you're doing the right things, but you're still feeling off, this was a sign that maybe A, you should restructure some of your habits. B, maybe send Chelsea a DM or two and see what she has to say. Maybe she has some more advice for you. And C, hit that follow button and like button because you need to keep up with her because her TikTok, her Instagram is literally full of different programs that she has coming up, tidbits. And then you never know when you'll find your right sign to be like, hey, I'm all in. I got my new coach. I'm Team Chelsea. This is the voice. Turn around.
Tap, tap. Today's the day.
Yes. I was like, why wait? Procrastinating, overrated. We're leaving that behind. I keep saying leaving that behind. Guys, I don't make New Year's resolutions. You know that if you know me, if you are a fan of the show. I just make life changes. And one of my life changes, and hopefully yours is too, is I don't want to say tomorrow. Anything that I think I want to do today, I want to do now. Now, I know that doesn't mean I'm going to complete it, but I at least want to start it now because if I wait till tomorrow, tomorrow will turn into tomorrow. That'll turn into tomorrow. And that's 3 tomorrows. That's almost a week. So stop putting it off today.
That's so true. And I think I always say the only failure is waiting. Like having the donut is not a failure. Having one meal that's off plan is not a failure. Not getting to the gym is not a failure. But like not starting, that is a failure.
All right. So for everybody listening, Chelsea, where can they find you? How can they stay in touch? What does this year look like for you? We're like we're almost a month in.
So crazy. I'm scaling my business this year. I want to help more women heal, working with men and testosterone levels as well. So a lot of, corporate guys who are maybe own a business, a lot of former athletes, helping them lose weight and boost T, increase muscle volume. But obviously, most of my practice is women. And so I am going to be launching a mini course for women's hormone balance. It's going to be launching in the next month. I'm doing some in-person retreats for women who want to do that next level of healing in Bali in April, which I'm super, super excited about because so far everything I've done has been online and results are amazing because I get to work with clients all over the world. But there's something so cool about the in person activation. And people, if they want to connect, you can, I have a podcast, Spotify and Apple called It's Not You, It's Your Hormones. I also put out a ton of free content on Instagram and TikTok at Healthy with Chels. So hit me up there. Tell me that Josh sent you. And I have a free ebook for anyone who's really hormone curious and wants some of those protocols that they can apply today, like a lot of the stuff we talked about, just actionable micro strategies to put into your day to actually release weight, feel normal again, and start feeling like your best self.
Chelsea, thank you so much for today. Guys, if you get anything from this, make sure you leave a like. Make sure you click the link down below. That'll take you right to her Instagram. Give that a follow. Check out the podcast. We only air 1 day a week, so that leaves 6 other days to go listen to Chelsea. That's all I'm saying. And then maybe if we get enough likes or enough shares or Chelsea gets enough DMs, she'll be like, okay, I'll just go back on the show and we'll do one for the fellas. We'll get her in here. We'll talk about testosterone. I know a lot of people are trying to bulk or they want to cut. They just want to look better. And there are a lot of hormones that deal with that. And who are we going to call about hormones? The hormone boss, Chelsea.
Hormone
So
boss. Let's go,
yeah,
baby.
that's right. But until then, I will see all you amazing bachelors, bachelorettes, and partner people next week for a new episode and another new guest on the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. See you guys.